Despite what anyone tries to tell you, Sakura from Naruto isn't useless. Her ungratefulness towards her parents helps highlight the fact that Sasuke and Naruto don't have parents. So when she starts ranting about how annoying her parents are to the literal orphan, you're thinking to yourself, she's stupid. But more importantly, you're thinking Naruto and Sasuke aren't that different after all. And also, Sasuke's a cool kid, so having a girl crush on him makes sense. Naruto's a goofy kid, so him getting rejected over and over again makes sense. This proves Sakura is in no way useless, yet people still hate her. And this is all because she's not a character, she's a component. In other words, Sakura lacks personification, one of the most powerful tools for writers when utilized at its maximum potential. So let me show you how to use it. You see, in any good story, you have characters and plot components. Components of the plot include setting or location, magic systems, political powers within the region, implied cultural influences, and the list goes on. But what differs characters from components is their ability to directly and consistently affect the plot. For example, in Naruto, the Leaf Village is the home base of our heroes, aka a component. We know this because when Pain uses Almighty Push and flattens the entire village, the village itself does nothing, it just gets toppled, but instead the ninja of the Leaf, our main characters, fight back, changing and directly affecting the plot as they do time and time again. And that's what makes Sakura a component of the plot rather than a character in the plot, because her presence hardly ever changes anything. For example, when Naruto and Sasuke are fighting on the hospital rooftop, they both actively endanger each other's lives, using what's effectively suicide bomb no jutsu, but Kakashi steps in and physically stops our two heroes from harming each other, while Sakura just watches, doing nothing to alter the plot in any meaningful way. You could make the argument that, well, her role in the battlefield is support, so of course you can't stop them. But characters who are literally weak can still be important. This is seen in Vinland Saga. The story takes place in warring West Europe and follows our protagonist Thorfinn. And as you know, if you watched Vinland Saga, Thorfinn's a bit of a tweakster. One thing led to another, and he's essentially the lackey of Viking General Escalette. He's one of Escalette's scouts, and on one of his missions, a woman finds him. She sees Thorfinn as a harmless child, so she washes and feeds him and talks to him, even though Thorfinn won't really respond. She treats Thorfinn, some kid hobo she just met, like a nephew, without second thought. So what does this completely harmless character do that's so profound in the story about war? Well, she dies. But it's how she dies that counts. You see, once night fell, Thorfinn lit a torch, which was signal for Escalette and his minions to come steal, kill, and rape everything and everyone in the village. The woman from earlier, as a direct result of Thorfinn's actions, was killed right in front of his eyes. And their eyes were locked, in fact, and the look on her face hadn't an ounce of hatred or betrayal, just confusion, pity, and empathy. And her face, that woman's face, stuck with Thorfinn all the way up until the show's second season. Her interactions with Thorfinn was the start of a chain of events that dramatically changed her main character, and the overall narrative by extension. She was no mere component. This proves characters don't literally have to have power to change the story to be considered important. But the opposite is true too. Powerful doesn't equal importance. For example, in Psalm 100, Akira's boss is a complete ass. He overworks his employees, disrespects them constantly, and yet he doesn't get a lot of screen time. For good reason. He exists to highlight how inhumane office life can be, not be a genuinely compelling character. This leads me to my next point. Stories that pretend their components are characters always fall flat, while stories that pretend their characters are components will always leave an impression. This is why the woman from the village is just as memorable as Sakura, despite Sakura having 100x more screen time, because the show Naruto presents Sakura as a member of Team 7, along with the GOATs Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi. While Vinland Saga presents some random person as some random person, yet she carries so much more weight than that. The point I'm trying to make is that personification isn't just writing good and compelling characters, it's also melding those good and compelling characters into the plot in a unique way. Thorfinn joining Escalette's crew was a really cool way to allow viewers to see more of Escalette and see his character develop over time, but they can't do that with every character. Thorfinn's dad, for example, is a really compelling character, but his presence in the story has more weight if he's not completely in the story, if that makes sense. Every time an interesting character comes up on screen, they can't just join the squad like they're joining a party in an RPG. That would be overkill. Instead, writers have to find interesting ways to work in characters beyond the main cast into their story. And there are some really unique ways to do that, because the characters in your story don't even have to be human. This leads me to my next example, Frieren. Frieren is a recent watch for me, and it was quite the journey. For those who haven't watched Frieren Beyond Journey's End, it's about the elven mage within the party of heroes who killed the Demon King, after they killed the Demon King. It's beyond the journey's end, you see. Now upon hearing this, you might be wondering, what's even the point of the show? All the interesting stuff already happened. And you're right, there is no point. And that's exactly what the show explores. You see, watching Frieren is like watching someone play creative Minecraft, but like in the best way possible. It's like this all-powerful mage who can solo entire armies, just goes flower picking for half a year straight, just for the vibes, and she's got nothing better to do either. There's no Demon King, and elves live for thousands of years, so she could just do whatever for a decade of no consequence, which is why the 10-year journey towards the Demon King's castle for her was so short, because to her it felt like a few months or so, because her lifetime is just that long. So where exactly does the non-human character come in? Well, you see, Frieren utilizes a trope that's quite common in anime. You know when two powerful characters are fighting, all the less powerful characters are on the sidelines just commenting on what's going on? They'll be like, oh boy, this is so exciting. And then the laughy character is like, my master's so powerful, he will never be defeated by the likes of you. And then the nerd emoji pushes up his glasses, he's like, according to my calculations, that's the legendary demon dragon technique. Dragon D-man nuts across your face. And Frieren does all of this with time.
Our adventure was a mere 10 years.
A mere 10? But that's a full.
You see, in the first episode of Frieren, the leader of the legendary party and the wielder of the obligatory hero sword is Himmel. Himmel dies. Himmel dies for everyone. Anyways, the episode starts off with the party reminiscing over the adventure they had and ends with them mourning Himmel. The show even goes as far as refusing to say 1 year later or 2 years later for time skips. Instead, to keep track of time, it says 1 year after the death of Himmel the hero, 2 years after the death of Himmel the hero, etc. And this obsession with time and loss is sprinkled within every single episode.
The way elves see this world is a mystery.
Who knows how long she's been a part of it by now.
In her eyes, 50 or even 100 years must look like a trifling thing.
Within the show, the past, the passage of time, and the passing of people is given as much thought and care as some of my favorite characters, and a substantial amount of the show's runtime is dedicated to glimpses of the past or directly referencing them. In Frieren, time itself is a character. It directly affects our main character in a profound way and is constantly brought up, and is at the forefront of many of the show's lessons. The result was a story less about well-written characters and more about time itself and what it means to different people. But that's not the only way stories can sneak well-made characters into the plot, and my next examples show that quite well. In Breaking Bad, our main character, Walter, is diagnosed with cancer. Basically, he doesn't have much time left, and because of that, he becomes the leader of a literal illegal drug syndicate. But that's not what we're focusing on. What we're focusing on is this. Walter lived a normal life, he was put into a situation that would cause his life to end prematurely, and as a direct result, he was being called to action to get the plot moving. Let's compare this to another origin story, Yuji Itadori. Itadori is a normal high schooler who one day encounters Thrift Store Sasuke, fighting a demon that wants a demon finger. Itadori makes the brilliant connection that if the demon thing eats the demon finger, it'll become so demonic that he and Walmart brand Sasuke will die. But if he eats the demon finger, he'll become demonic enough to kill the demon thing, so he eats the disgusting finger thing. And he does become demonic enough to kill the demon thing, but at what cost? You see, now the STDs of the agent Ryomen Sukuna live within his body, making him a threat, but at the same time he's a 1 in a million individual who can somewhat suppress Sukuna, making him an asset, so he's kidnapped and given 2 options.
When you die, the curse inside you will die as well. Since they've already decided to execute you, why not wait until after you've absorbed all of Sukuna to do it? And the higher-ups agreed, so now you have 2 options before you. You can die here and now, or gather all the parts of Sukuna, absorb them, and then die.
In both these stories, the main characters realize that their life will be cut short, and they decide to dedicate the rest of their lives to a goal. Walter wants to make sure his family is financially secure, while Itadori wants to make his late grandfather proud. But one of these ailments, Walter's cancer, and Itadori's Sukuna, is much more memorable than the other. You see, Walter's cancer could be replaced with any non-transmittable disease in the book, and it wouldn't change the plot at all. But Sukuna cannot be replaced. And that's because when Walter starts coughing, you don't think, well, I guess the cancer is getting worse. No, you think Walter's cancer is getting worse. Contrast that with Sukuna, who goes from a literal clown to
Happy feet, wombo combo, that's
The result is Sukuna being the one on camera, not Itadori. But I'd argue that Breaking Bad's portrayal of the human condition is far more compelling than the literal battle shonen, and that's because Breaking Bad personifies greed. I won't spoil anything, but as the cancer literally eats away at Walter's body, his greed eats away at his conflicted soul. His home life gets progressively worse as a jumble of lies eventually comes to a head, leading to scenes that can only be described as horrifically uncomfortable. And that's not even getting into the other well-written characters, like Walter's brother-in-law, a troubled man who slowly realized he's not the badass he thought he was nor wants to be. And Tuco, who's just Tuco. I like Tuco.
Tight, yeah! Blue, yellow, pink! Whatever, man, just keep bringing me that.
The reason I bring these two series up is that they perfectly display two very different approaches to personifying emotions. JJK's curses and Breaking Bad's expert drama. Sukuna is not just a component of the plot, he's a genuine character. I mean, he's a special grade diabolical tweakster, yet he can still be reasoned with like 20% of the time, and that makes him that much more terrifying. Like if I told you I was gonna shoot you with a gun, you'd probably be pretty scared, right? You'd probably be pretty scared, but if I cursed you instead, and your skin started to peel off slowly and your bones started to decay, well, that'd be terror, not fear, and that's what Sukuna demands from the viewer, because he just occasionally pops up and leaves Itadori like this. This is similar to how greed affects Walt's family. Walt eventually gets a sizable amount of money, but that doesn't stop him. His lies get twisted and jumbled as his family grows more and more suspicious. And that's all I can say because it's a drama, and if I spoil the drama, I'd be spoiling the entire drama. Anyways, and the whole thing applies to video games as well. Madeline from the game Celeste, for whatever reason, feels lost in her life. Her response to these emotions is hiking up a literal mountain. This she does as she hikes up the metaphorical mountain that is growing into oneself. And all that self-doubt and depression and anxiety comes out as battling. Why? Because that's the mountain's ancient power. It shows people who they really are, even if who they really are wants to get them off the mountain as fast as possible. It really is a good story, so I highly recommend the game. But personification can still apply to things that are a bit more literal than emotions and time, which leads me to my next mouth-watering example. That's right, Made in Abyss. I am absolutely obsessed with this show. The music is bussin'. Oh God! The art makes me wanna bust. Pause. Resume. And the characters got me thinking I'm watching Princess in the Frog. The magical details got me thinking I'm watching My Neighbor Totoro. And the music got me thinking I'm ascending to the God-starred heavens. But above all else, what remains the absolute pinnacle, the precipice of storytelling, is a world. Every other scene in this show deserves to be in a museum, hands down. The mysterious barrier, the mysterious barrier, the lone vagrant and her robot, the rough map of the underworld, the entrance to the fourth layer, and literally any scene with a crimson split jaw or Bondrewd in it. You see, the story of Made in Abyss follows our main characters, the determined Rico and the soft-hearted Reg. Rico lives in a town known as Orth. It surrounds the gaping maw of the Abyss, and they built their whole culture around it too. They even made a whistle system. Small fries are given red whistles, while more advanced cave raiders are appointed blue whistles, moon whistles, and black whistles. Whistles determine how far you're legally allowed to go into the Abyss, but the white whistles are on a league of their own. They have access to relics that defy reason, like the time-stopping bell, for example. The Abyss itself is the last frontier. Despite humanity having trekked it for thousands of years, no one knows what's at the bottom. And considering that Reg just appeared one day with no memories, it's likely that he himself came from the bottom of the Abyss, because he is a relic after all. The Abyss consists of layers. There is the Abyss's edge, which consists of flora and fauna that you might find on the first surface, with a few exceptions. As you go deeper, things get weird. The Forest of Temptation is a massive inverted forest, the roots of which allegedly reach to the ocean floor. The Goblet of Giants is a layer housing massive goblet-shaped trees which hold water that rush from the surface in seemingly infinite supply. And this doesn't even mention the amazing creatures, like corpse sweepers who mimic their victims' screams, these sick monkey-looking things, and pancake-shaped Furbies for some reason. All this and some extra details thrown in about the larger ecosystem. And then there's the sick relics and remnants of an ancient civilization that can be seen basically everywhere. like these windmill looking things, a boat for some reason, ancient cities, and Reg, a robot boy equipped with kick-ass grapple hands and a literal arm cannon. A weapon so powerful it evaporates anything it touches, but he does fall asleep after he uses it. All this makes a world that feels lived in and mysterious. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm insinuating that Made in Abyss's world isn't just a component, but a character. That's what makes it so compelling. But I don't think I quite proved that yet. If you think about it, Breaking Bad's world also feels lived in as well. Obviously it's our world, but you get the point. But what makes Made in Abyss's Abyss the Abyss is the awe-inspiring madness. The warm darkness, if you will. You see, the Abyss is a terrifying place. The show basically starts with a 12-year-old getting flung 50 meters or so. But despite that, our main characters, Reg and Rico, still brave the tunnels below because of the mystery. Who's Reg's creator? Where is Rico's mother? The mystery of the white whistles. What exactly was the ancient civilization, and what's with all the eggs? All this and just plain curiosity drives the pair deeper and deeper inside the threats, despite the threats going more and more deadly. And this pull towards the unknown is personified as the force field. The force field is the thing that blocks out all outside observation of the abyss, which is why it looks like an infinite void from above, yet sunlight still carries down to the edge in the lower layers, promoting plant and animal life throughout the subterranean environments. But the force field has a much darker effect as well. You see, when ascending in the abyss, one will succumb to the curse of the abyss. The presence of the force field causes ascending organisms to be overcome with nausea and dizziness on the first layer. After that, it grows to all-out hallucinations, convince you to give up on your journey. Ascending from further down, the price is bleeding from every pore in your body and intense pain. Further still, you become inhuman. But the real point I want to make about the abyss lies in what Ozen, the white whistle known as the immovable sovereign, says to Reg. You see, Reg's arm cannon, as I mentioned earlier, has the drawback of making him fall asleep. Now, Reg makes the mistake of aiming such a weapon at Ozen, for reasons I won't spoil. The point I want to make is what Ozen says to Reg after the fact.
Then it's a full 2 hours before you wake up again. During that time, even when I punched you, slammed you to the floor, stepped on your ribs, or dunked you in water, you were unable to get back up.
And after all that, she tells the pair to be cautious of not only the monsters they encounter in the lower layers, but the white whistle sovereigns as well, as they are more deadly and cunning than her. And this demonstrates just how cruel and indifferent the abyss can be. The abyss is an ecosystem, and there are apex predators, and they can and will kill you. And if you ascend, you will succumb to the curse, and it will probably kill you. But above all else, it demonstrates the awe-inspiring madness, the madness you'll find and the madness you're forced to become. And it's for these reasons that the abyss is a character, without a doubt in my mind. Its overwhelming amorality demands fear and terror and resentment, but also wonder. The abyss is simply characteristic, no other way to put it. It puts any who dare challenge or retreat to the ultimate test. It's called the Netherworld for a reason, because after a certain point, there's no going back. And that's why it's important that everything in a story, the protagonist, the antagonist, the main cast, the world, the art, the music, all of it has character in its own right. Because it doesn't matter how good of a writer you are if you're playing stock music in the background. Every major element in a story needs character, not just the characters. Alright, but I've gotten a little abstract with what exactly a character is, so let me reel it back with an old-fashioned human character with layers. A movie I really like, called Across the Spiderverse, does this really well. There's a villain character who goes from comedic relief to genuinely terrifying, but I've already mentioned Sukuna, so I won't touch on him. But Spider-Punk, or Hobie, definitely introduces some new concepts.
Or having a laugh at the pub with Amanda. I'm not a role model, I was briefly a runway model. I hate the AM, I hate the PM, I hate labels. I'm not a hero, because calling yourself a hero makes you a self-apologizing narcissist.
Y'all make a heck of a team.
I don't believe in teams.
Aren't you in a band?
I don't believe in consistency.
This guy is killing me.
He's a completely harmless character who cracks jokes every chance he gets, and he's nothing like the more serious characters like Miles, Gwen, and Miguel. He's a component at first, but then he evolves. You see, it's revealed later in the story that Spider Society has some pretty extreme hazing that involves murder. Anyways, Miles' response to that is, I'd win. Bro does not win. He quickly realizes that squad wiping an entire society is very much impossible, gets cornered, but stays true to his convictions and utters the famous phrase, nah, I'ma do my own thing. But he's not out of the frying pan yet, and that's why Hobie takes the fight to Miguel. Towards the end, Hobie seemingly dips out the story completely when things get dangerous. But when Miles gets captured, Hobie actually returns and harkens back to a much earlier scene by reminding Miles how to break barriers. And at the very end, it's revealed that Hobie actually has been collecting the technology needed to make his own Spider-Verse jumping watch. These instances are just some of the few examples of the Spider-Verse trilogy's ability to pretend the characters are just components, just to survive as the viewer later. They do it with Hobie, they do it with Spot, and I'd argue Peter and Miles' parents as well. And with that point out the way, the last thing I'd like to mention is that components are necessary. My purpose in making this video was not to say every element in a story needs to be as deep as the Abyss. For example, if a story has 50 or so recurring characters, someone's gotta be the side character. No story can give the viewer 50 truly unique perspectives without feeling confusing or unfocused. Like in Spider-Verse, Potvir. Like in Spider-Verse, Potvir's girlfriend you probably forgot about is just in like 2 scenes, and she's like never brought up again. It exists to further characterize Potvir as the type of person to have a girlfriend, nothing more. He's smart, energetic, passionate about people saying chai tea instead of chai.
Chai means tea, bro. You're saying tea. Would I ask you for a cup?
And he has a girlfriend. That's all she is and all she needs to be, because any further characterization would have slowed down the plot. Unlike with Hobie, they did the bare minimum with Potvir's girlfriend, and the movie is much better for it.
Alrighty. So as a recap, recurring elements or major components in the plot are much more interesting as characters. Tricking the viewer into thinking characters are components at first, and then doing a little flip-flop will always lead to interesting stuff, and sometimes components are necessary. Alright, I implore you to look back at all the stories you've listened to, all your favorite locations, your favorite magic systems, stuff like that. And it's likely that they're just as animated and alive as some of the characters in that series that you really like. That's what I really noticed. A lot of the good components, quote unquote, are actually just characters in disguise, in really good storytelling, really good stories. Anyways, with that, thanks for watching till the end, and please listen to your heart.